Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another Expertise video, and we've got more class tuning adjustments coming in for patch 11.2, which is going to help us hone in on potential winners and potential losers as far as class selection for yourself moving forward. And we have some PvP updates that I think a lot of us are going to be very happy about on this most recent round of changes. So let's just get started here. Developers notes, we're adjusting some of the outlier Liberation of Undermined tier set bonuses and providing some compensation where relevant to ensure a smooth transition into the Manaforge Omega tier bonuses. We'll continue to monitor the impact of these changes and adjust accordingly. This is really important because a lot of specializations, from my expertise in PvP, Resto Druid is an example. Without your set bonus, everyone thought they were the worst healer in the game. Then once they got their set bonus, it was like, oh my god, is this the best healer in the game? So with the transition out of that set bonus and into no set bonus or a new set bonus, they probably have to nerf them because they're too OP for a lot of them, whether it's PvE or PvP. So this is a very important heads up compensation that they need to make sure that they get right. For hero talent trees, for Death Knight, Reaper's Mark is getting 30% more damage. Seems like this is increasingly getting more attention, so definitely try out Deathbringer, I would say, especially on the PTR, if you're doing any testing there for yourself. For Blood, Exterminate has been updated. The first Scythe of Exterminate now has a 100% chance to reap a Bone Storm for 2 seconds. For Frost, Bind in Darkness now increases Howling Blast damage on the main target when consuming Rime by 60%, up from 30. And we've seen Death Knight basically buffs across the board for this patch. Maybe finally it's going to be the Death Knight patch. Is it finally your time to be the one on top? It could very well be, right? We've seen the reworked classes usually end up being pretty strong, but at the same time, when you're strong in the early ends of a PTR cycle or a beta test, you end up getting nerfed almost immediately after coming out. So this might not be a good sign. Rider of the Apocalypse, Mossworn Menace now reduces the cooldown of Death and Decay by 5 seconds, down from 10. I don't think that's a big deal for PvP, but I think in PvE, obviously, that could be a big nerf. For Frost, Mograin's Might has been updated. Your damage is increased by 5%, and you gain 5% increased critical strike chance while inside Mograin's Death and Decay. For Sand Lane, for Blood, Visceral Strength now has an additional effect. When Blood Boil hits 2 or more targets, it generates 1 charge of Bone Shield. So Blood Death Knights getting more Bone Shield applications. Overall, kind of hard to tell. Seems like they're trying to even out the scale between Deathbringer and Rider of the Apocalypse a little bit with some minor buffs to Frost in the overall tree. But Frost specifically is getting even more attention. Breath of Sindragosa has been updated. Again, I guess. Call upon Sindragosa's aid in battle for 8 seconds, continuously dealing frost damage every 1 second to enemies in a cone in front of you. Consuming Killing Machine or Rime increases the duration by 1 second. Deals reduced damage to secondary targets. Grants a charge of Empowered Rune Weapon at the start and 2 runes at the end. 1.5 minute cooldown, costs 60 runic power. That feels a lot more impressive, I think. We've seen a lot of feedback around the recent change to make Breath of Sindragosa an Empower spell. While some players liked the new direction, many felt that the casting requirement made it difficult to use and broke up the flow of the Frost Death Knight's rotation. We're moving toward a version that feels more natural to play without losing the impact of the ability it is known for. So this is what I like, is constant iteration. And it seems like we've got really good iteration interaction when it comes to Mythic Plus. I would love this style of communication when it comes to PvP in a lot of cases, because I feel like that's right on the nose. It feels like direct communication, relaying back and forth. Death Grip now has a 15-second cooldown, but only outside of PvP. Remember, they removed a bomb limb for Frost, so they're trying to give you more manual control, I guess, in PvE scenarios, but it's still only going to be 25 in PvP, although they are adding a Death Grip diminishing return in this patch. So I think it's you can't Death Grip a target more than 3 times or something like that. Maybe it's blood only. The double Glacial Advance from consuming 2 stacks of Killing Machine with Killing Streak now properly deals double damage and applies 2 stacks of Razor Ice. So bug fixes for Frostbane, bug fixes for Arctic Assault. Consuming 2 stacks of Killing Machine with Killing Streak now correctly grants 2 stacks of Bone Grinder. An issue causing Gathering Storm to not extend the duration of Remorse's Winter when talented into Frozen Dominion has been resolved. Position of Murderous Efficiency and Howling Blades have been swapped. Frost Scythe Visual has also been updated. So just bug fixes, just overall quality of life improvements for Frost. It doesn't seem like you're getting your head chopped off just yet as far as changes. For Unholy, Desecrate has been updated. Death and Decay deals 100% more damage, has its cooldown reduced by 10 seconds, and is replaced by Desecrate after it is cast. Desecrate. Consume your Death and Decay and crush your enemies within, dealing 100% of its remaining damage instantly. This will apply bursts 1 to 2 Festering Wounds, depending on whether the target is already affected by Festering Wounds. Grants you the benefits of standing in Death and Decay. We felt there was too much pressure to cast Desecrate as soon as possible due to it dealing greater damage than the Death and Decay would otherwise. We are looking to increase its flexibility while maintaining its use case effectiveness. So I think intending this to be like, the target's going to move out of your Death and Decay, so let's snap remove it, get some damage out of it, and then put another one down. This feels like a lot of effort is going into this. And again, in PvP, I feel like this is not going to not really going to have too much impact if it's focused around Death and Decay. Death and Decay damage has been buffed by 100%, but does not affect Defile. Bursting Swords damage has been increased by 15%. That's significant. Bursting Sword now damages up to 7 nearby targets. Defile has a longer cooldown, so Defile builds look like they might be getting worse. Death Grip is also getting a cooldown reduction for Unholy as well as Frost, except not in PvP. Burst of Festering Wound now refreshes the duration of Festering Scythe Override Aura. Scourge Strike critical strike chance now causes Festering Wound to burst for 20% increased damage. This also affects Bursting Swords damage. Sudden Doom no longer reduces the runic power cost of Epidemic. It was previously reducing it by 10. We've noticed that lowering the cost of Epidemic led Unholy Death Knight to generate more resources than we've intended from bursting, festering wounds, and AoE situations. Grave Mastery now increases the critical strike damage of Gargoyle and Legion of Souls. Plague Mastery now increases the critical strike damage of Festering Wound. And an issue causing Dark Transformation to not upgrade the abilities of your pet's ghoul, such as Claw, has been resolved. So bug fixes, some bursting damage improvements. Looks like Defile targeted for a little bit of a nerf. Just an overall shift. It seems like, I think from most feedback I'd seen for Unholy was that it was kind of a mess on its first iteration. So this is them kind of just tidying things up and sweeping them together more so, I think, than to take away anything of major significance. For Druid of the Claw, empowered shapeshifting causes bear form to reduce magic damage taken by 6% up from 4, so a little bit more tanky and bear. Mana Forged Omega 4 set bonus, handling of Blood Talons and Coiled to Springs bonus has been updated. If those bonuses are active at the time of Ravage, that triggers the 4 set bonus. The automatic Ravage will also benefit from those bonuses. Automatic Ravages cast by the 4 set bonus will no longer consume stacks of Blood Talons or Coiled to Spring. It's intentional that the 4 set automatic Ravages do not benefit from Saber Jaws. We do not want that talent to feel necessary to maximize the value of the set bonus. It's interesting where they pick and choose to do this, because oftentimes set bonuses obviously are very catered towards certain talent builds, but maybe if it's excessive, I guess that's where the line is drawn. So this must have been seen as excessive, which means that maybe the Druid of Claw build is not going to be as flexible. 4 set bonus, fixed an issue with automatic Ravage damage involving, okay, well, they just said it right there. For Guardian, Dreadful Wounds damage, or reduction to damage that afflicted enemies dealt to you is increased by 15%. And Strike for the Heart causes Mangle to heal you for 5% of your maximum health, up from 1%. That can make you really OP, I'm not going to lie, especially in World PvP. What? You're spamming Mangle, you're just getting auto 5% heal? That's going to be kind of OP in World PvP, I think. Wild Stalker, Symbiotic Blooms and Bursting Growth healing increased by 30%, down from 50. So Wild Stalker nerfs. So they're trying to even out the talent tree there for Resto Druids. For Resto Druids, 2 set bonus, the rate at which Symbiotic Blooms grow is increased by 30%, down from 40. Oh, it's because this set bonus scales with the hero talent tree. This is the difficulty of trying to add a hero talent tree that's temporary and then having to readjust the baseline and then counter rebalance it later on. Mana Forged Omega 4 set bonus, Symbiotic Blooms have a 20% chance to trigger bursting growth every 2 seconds at 80% effectiveness. So this is probably why they had to nerf it, is because it's just going to be proccing all the time. So I had to bring it down a little bit in terms of overall power. Hopefully that's something they compensate for when the set bonus moves away, if they're not going to make the set bonus baseline, which maybe they will. For Evoker, Preservation, 2 set bonus, Inner Flame, periodic healing by 25% stack per stack, down from 40. So nerfs to Prez, it looks like. Essence Bomb healing version, radius increased to 20 yards, up from 8. A little bit of extra yardage there, but a little bit of a reduction on the overall healing. For Devastation, just a 3% damage buff. 3% guy is still there. He's still employed. He dodged the layoffs. Liberation of Undermine 2 set bonus has been updated. Jackpots now cast Shattering Star at 50% effectiveness, down from 100%, and occur 20% less frequently. Jackpots now cast Shattering Star at 50% effectiveness. Oh yeah, this is the set bonus that was going to be crazy, because you're just getting these all the time. So they're preemptively nerfing that. 4 set bonus has been updated. Shattering Star and Jackpots now increase the damage of your next Empower spell by 18%, down from 25%. Okay, so just big nerfs. Devastation was one of them. That was going to get caught. And then they tried to compensate that with the 3% damage buff. I feel like that's not even... I don't even think it's going to be close. Preservation is getting 4% healing reduction, 20% healing reduction on Dream Breath, Temporal Artificer reduces the cooldown of Rewind by 120 seconds, though, now, up from 90, so you get Rewind more frequently. Fixed an issue that prevented Life Bind from transferring Emerald Communion healing when the Evoker has a Healing Absorb. Again, the main thing is that they're getting like a PP talent that when they Verdant Embrace, they're going to go immune to CC for like 4 seconds, which I think a lot of the pro players have been saying is going to be really powerful. So this has significant impact, though, so this could be bad for you. Dark Ranger for Hunter. Soul Drinker has been updated. Black Arrow damage bonus reduced to 8% from 15. Bleak Powder damage reduced to 10 from 20. It's a little bit of a nerf. I'm not surprised, at least for PvP. Phantom Pain shared percentage reduced to 15%. Phantom Pain share now affects up to 8 targets, and Bleak Powder has been nerfed by 25%. So a lot of nerfs for Dark Ranger. For Marksmanship, Black Arrow is just doing 8% less damage. And for Pack Leader, it looks like you're getting a lot of attention here. Shell Cover is being updated. When dropping below 60%, you summon the aid of a turtle, reducing the damage you take by 15%. Damage reduction increased as health is reduced up to 35%. Damage reduction at 10%. So there's a scaling damage reduction, kind of passive shield wall effect every 90 seconds. It's definitely that. I mean, your wall is only like 25% or something. It's like this isn't nothing, but you can easily get chopped up by the time you've hit 10% health, and it doesn't even have a chance, right? To reduce a lot of damage. Better Together has been updated. Damage dealt by your pets is increased by 5 to 15%. Frenzy's attack speed bonus is increased by 4%. Tip of the Spear's damage bonus increased by 10%. So a little bit of a buff here. Rend Flesh's damage, though, has been nerfed by 30%. Bleeds ignore armor, which Rend Flesh was not doing before, so this nerf is intended to keep it in line with neutral power, so this doesn't matter. How the Pack Leader now displays an activation overlay when a beast summon is ready. The Pack Leader Bear now properly benefits from pet avoidance. Fixed an issue causing Rend Flesh to not be treated as a bleed. Manaforge Omega 4 set bonus has been updated. Now only summons a Stampede when summoning a beast during lead from the front. Stampede damage reduced by 50%. Stampede now has a cap of 8 per charging animal. Stampede damage radius increase. Is this the Stampede talent that they pruned from the game and now it's a set bonus, or is this a completely new Stampede? I mean, I'm gonna have to check this out. Stampede pathing logs has been updated. Stampede visuals have been updated. Tooltip updated to show more accurate damage values. And do we really need more pets stampeding the screen? I need to see how many pets is on the screen with this, because seems concerning. Developers notes it can be challenging to maximize the positional requirements of Stampede when you don't know when it's coming. We're reducing its power while making it easier to use, a bit more forgiving, and giving you a clearer window of when it's going to be summoned. Fixed an issue causing Stampede to despawn after striking 5 targets. Okay. Sentinel. Fixed an issue where the Boon of Elune granted within the Manaforge Omega 4 set bonus could overlap with Boon of Elune granted from the 2 set bonus. That definitely seems like a powerful synergy that got nipped. 3% damage increase for BM Hunters. Probably means your set bonus is getting nerfed. Dire Beast chance to trigger reduced to 4% from 7. And your 2 set bonus chance bonus reduced and no longer scales with haste. That's okay. And Beast of Wrath cooldown reduction reduced to 0.1 seconds down from 0.25. And mutagenic attack damage has been reduced. So yeah, BM Hunter is another one. Set bonus reductions of 3% damage to try and compensate. And they fixed issues with Bloodshed not summoning beasts, so a little bit of bug fixes. Marksmanship, Aspect of the Hydra, and Onarin Wind's additional target seek range increased to 12 yards. Shrapnel Shot no longer triggers from the Liberation Undermine 4 set bonus, and Liberation of Undermine 4 set bonus Explosive Shot effectiveness reduced to 125% down from 300%. So that must have been really strong. I don't remember this being that good in PvP, mostly just because aim shot hits for 10 billion damage even with nothing. So just set bonus adjustments for Marksman and BM. Fixed an issue where the old version of Wildfire Arsenal could still trigger from quick shots. For Mage, Frostfire, Excess Fire has been updated. It now has a 50% chance to grant Brain Freeze down from 100%. Frostfire Frost could generate so much Brain Freeze that it incentivized very unintuitive usage of Flurry. Fixed an issue causing Ignite from the Manaforge Omega 2 set bonus to not work on critical strikes. Can we nerf the proc roots, please? I just want the Frost Mage proc roots to get nerfed. Please. Spellslinger. Splinter Storms now have a 10% chance to grant Brain Freeze, was 5%. Splinter Storms now have an 8% chance to grant Clear Casting, up from 5. So they're trying to, again, even out Frostfire and Spellslinger more. Arcane. All Splinter damage increased by 8%. For Frost, your 2 set bonus has been updated. Its a chance to trigger has been increased to 30% up from 25. And your 2 set bonus, fixed an issue where Cold Front was not triggering at the correct rate. Sun Fury, lesser time warp, and flame quill durations reduced to 10 seconds. These changes are aimed at focusing the power of the Mana Forge Omega 4 set into a shorter window. Mana Forge 4 set bonus updated. Lesser Time Warp now grants 25% haste, though, up from 15. Arcane Soul Hyperthermia extensions reduced to 0.5 seconds, down from 1. Spell damage bonus increased to 20, though, up from 10. So it's just a very scary window, but it's a smaller window to get a lot of burst damage off. Fixed an issue where Lingering Embers was not gaining the spell damage bonus from the Mana Forge Omega 2 set. Bug fixes. For Arcane, Liberation of Undermine 2 set bonus, chance to trigger reduced. Aether Attunement is now tracked on the cooldown manager. And fixed an issue where consuming Intuition as soon as it procs would not increase Arcane Barrage's damage correctly. So bug fixes, UI display improvements for them. Fire Mage, 3% damage increase. Liberation of the 2 set bonus is obviously getting nerfed. 4 set bonus getting nerfed, and this 3% is to compensate. We're going to see that, I think, for a lot of specs. Blizzard cooldown and duration increased to 15 seconds. We've received feedback that Frost's AoE rotation can feel quite cluttered. We're reducing the frequency of which you need to cast Blizzard to help the rotation breathe in AoE a bit more. We'll continue to monitor the repercussions of this change and adjust accordingly. I would say in PvP as well, like having Blizzard down constantly is like really difficult. Again, I'd rather Proc Root get nerfed than Blizzard, but this could have some impact, likely some impact in PvP. For Monk hero talent trees, Master of Harmony, Brewmaster, increase the damage of Harmonic Surge by 25%, and your set bonus, Press the Advantage, now can consume potential energy. Fixed issues, so it looks like bug fixes for Brewmaster across the board. For Holy Paladin, Holy Light gets a 30% healing increase. I almost never used that in PvP, but maybe. What's this? Infusion of Light now increases the healing of Flash of Light by 150%, up from 30. Are they actually going to make Paladins cast now? Inflorescence of the Sunwell now increases Infusion of Light's effect on Flash of Light by 50, up from 15. I mean, these are leading me to believe that they're going to try to make you cast spells. They haven't been able to do that, at least in PvP, but yet in this patch, so definitely a bold move on their part. For Shadow Priest, oh no, guys, you guys didn't dodge the nerfs. They got too much attention. Void Volley, 15% less damage. Idol of N'Zoth, which I found out was dispellable, so it was already kind of garbanzo, and now it's getting nerfed by 30%. Fixed an issue causing Shadow Crash to sometimes apply stacks of horrific visions when talented for Idol of N'Zoth. Fixed an issue causing Dark Ascension to not increase the damage of Void Volley or Idol of N'Zoth. Well, there's some synergy at least to compensate for it. Fixed an issue causing Subservient Shadows to not increase the duration and depths of Shadows. Fixed an issue causing Phantom Menace to give less critical strike chance than intended. For Rogue, the single button assistant and assisted highlight now recommend more appropriate weapon poisons based on your talents and adjust their recommendations towards wound poison in PvP. I just got 2400 on my Subtlety Rogue and I had to turn it off because I got hard capped at 1950. I still kind of hope that they let us edit the spells that are in the rotation and remove and add spells that we want at will, so we can like make our own rotation with the one button or something. That would be cool, customizable one button rotation, because it's still kind of useless that it uses Black Powder, and other classes as well use their AoE abilities. For Shaman Elemental, the single button assistant and assistant highlight recommendations now appropriately weave between Earthshock or Elemental Blast and Earthquake when talented for Echoes of the Great Sundering. So now we got single button assistant updates along with class changes as well. Warlock, what are you guys getting? Because I feel like Warlock has not been, having too high of a ride so far in the current patch. 2 set bonus has been updated, now triggers from Chaos Bolt, Rain of Fire, and Shadowburn. Soul Harvester. The window of Soul Harvester's tier set bonus is being reduced to limit the chance of disruption while maximizing its effects. The 2 set bonus has been updated. Your Demonic Soul now assaults enemies for 9 seconds, down from 12. And your 2 set bonus has been updated. Damage dealt by your Demonic Soul increased by 20%. So this does seem like a little bit of strength improvements here, at least for Soul Harvester. Affliction. We are increasing the stat cap on Tormented Crescendo to reduce the chance of losing stacks granted via Mana Forge Omega tier set bonus. For Hellcaller, Tormented Crescendo can now stack up to 3 times. So just some quality of life improvements there for Affliction. Demonology. We are increasing the number of wild imps empowered by Demonic Tyrant back to 10, as our initial swing left Demonic Tyrant feeling too easy to execute. Additionally, we are increasing the value of Master Summoner and Umbral Blaze to be more appealing to invest points in. Umbral Blaze, however, is swapping places with Pact of the Imp Mother. This allows for Umbral Blaze to exist as a means to increase single target throughput without standing in the way of Pact of the Imp Mother, a universally useful talent. Lastly, we're reducing the effectiveness of the Liberation of Undermine tier set bonus and baking in some of its power to smoothen the transition between the Season 2 and 3 set bonuses. Master Summoner has been redesigned. It increases mastery by 4% and reduces the cast time of your Call Dreadstalkers, Vile Fiend, and Tyrant by 25%. You get a 6% damage buff across the board, double that of everybody else. Immutable Hatred damage increased by 150%. And Summon Demonic Tyrant now empowers 10 imps up from 5. At least you don't have to worry about your Tyrant just bugging out in AFK and not attacking through a pillar, because at least the imps will do, at least more of your imps will do more damage. Umbral Blaze now has a 100% chance to trigger. Liberation of Undermine 2-set bonus has been updated. It now summons a greater Dreadstalker, but only at 180% effectiveness, down from 265. So these are the nerfs to the set bonuses. Pact of the Imp Mother has swapped places with Umbral Blaze. It fixed an issue where Summon Charhound and Summon Gloomhound did not match the cooldown of Summon Vile Fiend, so bug fixes as well. For Hero Talent Trees for Warrior, Demolish's channel will not break once begun unless the target moves over 50 yards away from the warrior. Thank God, bro. It's so annoying. Developers notes, Demolish's single target attacks will still only hit the target if it is in melee range, and the final AoE impact will impact no more than 5 yards from the warrior. Protection, Spellbringer or Spellbreaker description updated for clarity. You have a 4% chance to disrupt magic damage dealt to you, reducing its damage by 100%. So they're trying to make Prot Warriors a little more tanky against magic damage, but it's complete RNG. I feel like that's might not work out too well, but all right. Here's the PvP changes. Win traders, they might not be able to ban you or whatever the heck. What's going on with that? I don't know, but you are no longer going to be able to get the same player on your team 3 times in a row. So I assume that means like 3 shuffles in a row. You can't queue into the same player. So if win traders are healers and they're trying to queue into each other over and over and over, or and so on, it's not going to happen. It could mean longer queues though, also. For people who are obviously not trying to do that. I'm a bit worried about this maybe potentially having longer queue ramifications. And finally, the Prot Paladin Cabal has been ended. Prot Paladins are now treated like other tanks for both queues and rolls. So there's a DPS that can't queue into other tanks. You'll just get 1 tank in your lobby if there's a tank, which means you're probably not going to see it very often. It also means you don't have to worry about getting the Prot Paladin healer lobbies. You don't have to worry about them griefing and win trading and exploiting the bracket. It was fun for them to experiment with, but obviously it got to the point where it was just not fun anymore and people were exploiting it. So I think this is the right reaction, and likely going to put at least some of the cheaters out of commission. Temple of Kotmogu, floating text now appears on the player to signify when they are generating points for their team. So a little bit of like visual improvements to the UI for Temple of Kotmogu. User interface and accessibility. Warband's currency transfer window will remain open after a transfer transaction. An event scheduler no longer lists the continent name to avoid confusion when events are in multiple continents. Clicking on them will still bring the player to the map, player map to the event location. So UI improvements across the board. So compensations for set bonuses. A lot of classes getting buffs. Shadow looks like it's getting a little bit of a nerf, some 1-button fixes. Seems like Demonology Warlock is the one to really look out for here, and potentially Pack Leader for these changes, and obviously like the cheaters getting taken out of commission, which is really nice. And hopefully they're going to be able to tidy up DK, because Frost is starting to get pieced together pretty good here. But I think at least from the previous iteration, from what I've seen from other content creators, was Unholy was kind of looking like a bit of a mess. So hoping that can all be tidied up. But that's going to be it for this update here. So thank you guys very much for tuning into the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the update, and I will see you in the next one.